to discuss about OpenStack automation. While I remember that most of you or many of you would have attended OpenStack sessions before, but we wanted to take this discussion to the next level, where how you can automate your infrastructure provisioning, right? Or the application provisioning or environment as service. So to take it to the next level, we picked up this topic. So we are using two products here. One is OpenStack, another is Cloudforms. So we'll be using Cloudforms to automate the OpenStack infrastructure. So let me introduce what is OpenStack. For those who are attending for the first time or have not got experience with OpenStack, this is a very high-level introduction, for you. It's evident that you need to understand this product better. When you understand, you can definitely appreciate the product to its fullest extent, right? So what is OpenStack 13? So OpenStack 13 is the recent stable version from Red Hat, and that's why we call this as Red Hat OpenStack Platform 13. And it has got a lot of enhanced features. For example, you can do the OpenStack upgrade quicker and faster. Some of our guys have done OpenStack 10 to 13 upgrade or 12 to 13 upgrade. So you can prepare yourself for the life cycle, and you can upgrade it just one go. You can also do the OS upgrades, along with the OpenStack over cloud upgrade. We are not going to talk about the architecture today, so you can refer to the previous discussions. I just wanted to pause here and check. Does everybody is everybody able to hear me? Can one of you just acknowledge? That would be a great help, because I'm getting pings that some of you are not able to hear me.
I can hear you well.
Yeah, so my lines are clear. Fazul and others, okay, if any of you are not able to hear, you just disconnect and rejoin. Okay, so coming back to where we were discussing that, platform lifecycle is one of the key feature in whenever you choose a platform, and that is why OpenStack 13 gives you the best way to automate your upgrade, right? So that means automation as a feature is there from your platform installation itself or platform start itself, right? Then the second thing is it gives you the unified storage backend. You have got a fantastic integration of the file storage and object storage and block storage. So that means you can do your migrations. You can take care of the persistence of the virtual machine, having a unified software-defined storage. I repeat, unified software-defined storage. The third is security. We did talk about security in past, but I can re-emphasize this, that you have got security at every level. So you have got security at the time of accessing or provisioning the tenant for your customers. So you can secure them by creating a multi-tenant environment. You can protect the overall cloud by enhancing the security at the identity keystone level, at the network level, at the image storage level. You can divide the OpenStack security into different level, which is the API service, public facing, and the management service, as well as the demilitarizes service like your image container and customer virtual machines. So you can use the security features, and please understand that it do use the secret keys and the certificates. You can use internal and external certificates and integrate, and you can do a perfect secret key management like you do it in Amazon Web Services. Network, fantastic network feature. Many of you who are not aware, please understand that OpenStack 13 gives you DVR, distributed virtual router, which is definitely a very good feature with respect to networking. You can also do the traditional software defined router per tenant, or you can have multiple routers to route your LT traffic. Then, so that's a new feature, DVR. You have got load balancer as a service, you have got firewall as a service, and you have got definitely new functionalities like how will you get a particular virtual machine with high throughput with respect to the network, right? That you can do it using SRIOV and DPDK. So these features you can bring it to life in OpenStack 13. Hence, that leads to our conversation to NFV. NFV is the network function architecture which 5G network telecom companies are adopting. India is a very vulnerable and scalable market with respect to the 5G services, where you are providing the hosted virtual machines to a high grade performance on the network, right? Then the containers. So what is hosted on NFV not necessarily be a virtual machine. It can be the virtual functions as a container. So OpenStack 13 has got the ability to run its own services as container. That means you can have OpenStack services runs as a container, as well as you can host containers on top of OpenStack, like OpenShift platform. So you can run OpenShift on OpenStack. You can run OpenStack services, as container on OpenStack. So these are two, fantastic features on OpenStack 13. Then the last, not the least, is operation. That is where your day two job comes. How will you run the OpenStack platform, for your end customer? So getting those services always available, you have to do the operation work or the day-to-day operation work. So those are being enhanced, and they are now available in terms of container, in terms of namespace, in terms of virtual functions, in terms of automated playbooks. So you need to explore that platform to its fullest extent. I do encourage people, those who are not having hands-on experience on OpenStack platform 13, should go for CL 110, 210, and 310 training, so that you get that hands-on experience. This particular webinar is to get you across on the automation features, what we can do on OpenStack using Cloudforms and Ansible. So that we will discuss. Okay. So since our OpenStack introduction is done, what we will do is we will talk about a little on the business. So if you are going with OpenStack, you need definitely a trusted provider, which is a OEM, and Red Hat is a OEM, Mirantis is another OEM. So I would prefer with Red Hat, and um, you also need a lot of channel partner and hardware partner to be to support this particular platform, and you also need the system integrators and the cloud service providers to support you. If that ecosystem is with you, then definitely you are in the safe hand. Okay. Now, what is the private cloud expectation? So the private cloud expectations are definitely high, right? So if I'm taking OpenStack into the business, it should solve three of my problem: accelerate, innovate, and empower. Okay. I remember my conversation, in the last webinar, when I said, okay, accelerate means you need to fast track the provisioning, of the infrastructure, so that it helps my customers to innovate faster, and it helps them to build the business as quick as possible, which is empower. And automation is a key driver in the digital transformation, right? I repeat, um, uh, let me give you a use case. So let us say your customer is expecting an environment to be created in hours time or in minutes time, right? So if your customer is expecting you to create an environment in minutes time, how OpenStack can accelerate that, right? Like in Amazon, people get it, right? You have to build the provisioning workflows on OpenStack using Heat, so that it can accelerate your provisioning. Okay. And can I give a service catalog approach to my customer, so that they can choose the environment with just select of options, right? So first is provisioning workflow on OpenStack. Second is getting a service catalog, right? And third is integration. So can I get my load balancer, floating IP, storage, compute, networking, all being done in just one go, right? If that is the story, then how we can achieve, and does that called as accelerate? Okay, so in my definition, it is called as accelerate because I fast track my network, service, storage, security, compute, everything in just minutes, which I was taking probably days together. Since it is helping to get my environment, then my developers can focus on innovation or coding, which is DevOps, right? So developers can continue to develop, and operations should enable developers to continue to develop, and that hence result, better business. So that's one of the driver which OpenStack brings it to the table, right? Then the next thing is low cost of ownership. So when it is low cost of ownership, your licensing cost, traditionally, you had a virtual hypervisor license cost, which is ESXi, or any other hypervisor, where you were paying for the hypervisor, then you were paying for the operating system, then you were paying for network, security. So you had several licensing layers, which was actually adding up your cost. Here, there is no software license required for solution. You can build all these solutions in a software defined way if you have OpenStack. So that simplify your licensing cost, right? The second thing is greater price with respect to the performance. So if you have faster delivery compared to physical, data centered way of delivering things in a traditional way, that means it gives you more return on investment, right? And hence it is giving you more return on investment. Your investment is being protected in a hybrid environment where complex network infrastructures are in place. That means you are not replacing your traditional switches, routers, and your virtualization, but you can still run a private cloud. All that can be possible, right? And you need to lower the administrative cost, right? So then my next point is hybrid cloud. So I touched upon the hybrid cloud while explaining, right? Apologies, it's little skewed in the presentation, right? So when I said your traditional infrastructure is not being replaced, that means you still have an ecosystem where you have the old vCenter, ESXi, or KVM hypervisors are in place. Plus, you have your traditional infrastructure, and you also have OpenStack, and you have the public cloud. So, if you have mix of private, on-premise, traditional, managed, and third-party public cloud like AWS and Azure, how you can manage all of that. That is where our pitch comes today, that can I automate the hybrid cloud, not just private cloud. So we will demonstrate you how we can automate the hybrid cloud, not just the private cloud, and how OpenStack especially can be automated using that kind of orchestration, right? So that's our pitch. Now let sit back and do the understanding how this can happen, right? So definitely things are not going to work out of context. You have to prepare yourself, right? And to prepare yourself, you need to choose the right tooling to do this automation, right? When I'm saying you need to choose the right tooling, right? Just go to the previously discussed topic. So you are helping your business to accelerate. Accelerate means you need to bring operational efficiency. You need to bring operational efficiency, not in the traditional way of shell scripting, but using some YAML or some better programming method. At the same time, you need to have automated health checks. You need to have workflows which can do things like a human does in a step by step. If any of you have done an upgrade before, what do? You prepare for the upgrade, you do the capacity planning, then you do the health check, then you go for upgrade, then you do post health check, then you transition it to the operation. All these are operational tasks, and each of these tasks can be automated, and that can bring your operational efficiency. Then the next part is service health. So you need to ensure that when things are running, it should run smooth. That means you need to have a consistent monitoring in place so that if anything is broken, it has to be healed properly. Then the third aspect is you cannot introduce vulnerability and non-compliance just because you are giving speed to your business. Your business need in 1 hour, you need the environment. That doesn't mean you will give some environment which is non-compliant or which has got a lot of vulnerabilities, right? Okay, for that particular respective country or to the business line. So you need to have security and compliance at highest priority. Then last not the least is it should be in a fixed budget and without losing the timeline. That means your finance management has to be appropriate. So I repeat, operational efficiencies you can bring by introducing tool like Cloudforms. It can not only do operational efficiency, but also it can give you, a predictive, proactive, health check. Bring Ansible, which can do automation in each of these layers. And it should have appropriate logging, metering, and monitoring so that you can do the chargeback, showback, and financial discipline. So these are the basic principles before you go for automation. So we talked about business motive, accelerate, innovate, and optimize, right? Then, or enable, or empower. Then we talked about how. So how is operational efficiency, service health, security compliance, and financial management, right? Now, if I talk about that and this, all this has to happen in a new mindset. Without a new mindset, you cannot bring this transformation. Let me be very upfront, direct with you, right? Do not try to automate when you are not in the new mindset. And this is a checklist for you. Many of you who are attending this session, you can take a screenshot and check, are you in the new mindset or you are in the old mindset? Okay, you would quickly realize, are you a platform guy or a system guy? OpenStack is a platform, right? That means you are dealing with a platform. Linux is a system, or you are dealing with a system, right? So are you an operating system guy or you are a platform guy? Are you a monolithic, approach resource or a modular resource, right? That means, are you dealing with the system and services which are modular in nature, where networking, firewall, security, everything is being very decoupled? Are they being accessible and managed API based or siloed? So are you doing a backup of system through API, or you are manually doing it? Or are you provisioning a system through API or manually doing it? Is it automated or manual? Okay. Are you delivering application and services, or you are delivering infrastructure? Let me give you a simple definition, right? Your customer is expecting an application and service, but you are delivering a Linux versus Windows. So that means you are in old mindset if you are just delivering the infrastructure. But if you are giving application and services, you are in the new mindset. Are you orchestrated managing the alerts, which is insights, or you're just managing the alerts? If it is orchestrated managing alerts, that means your alert is coming and it is healing the alert, right? In an orchestrated way. Are you enabling your customer and yourself, or you are controlling your customer? Many of you might be saying that, okay, look, I can do your provisioning. If you can do customers provisioning, that means you are doing customers work. Is customer himself or themselves does the provisioning? That means you have enabled the customer. Is your platform vendor lock-in, or it is open? That means even though you have OpenStack, right, but it should not have a lock-in that, okay, OpenStack will run only on Red Hat Linux. It can run any of these different Linux, right? It should have the capability to integrate with different hypervisors, okay, as well as Cloudforms, right? So if the right hand side is your target, that means you are actually in the digital transformation, right? So I had to spend this much of time to bring you, this mindset that what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to achieve automation just for provisioning, or you are achieving automation to accelerate, innovate, and enable? If so, then how? Is it through operational efficiency, through your health check and service acceleration, through compliance, monitoring, logging, and with financial discipline? If those are the how, then do you have the mindset? The mindset is, are you open mindset? Are you API based? Are you enabling the customer? Do you have orchestration way or manually provisioning? So those are the new mindset, and that is nothing but the true digital transformation. Okay. If we are in that understanding, then how is that going to happen? So look at this picture and please understand that how your transition is happening from the old to new. Okay, so you have been a master of server virtualization and bare metal, and now you are bringing the IT services for your end customer, okay, in a private cloud environment. Your end customers are the LOBs, okay, which is defined in white color, right? So how is this going to happen, right? At the same time, I also touched upon that you are moving into a private plus public scenario. If it is private plus public scenario, that means you have got IaaS in a data center and you have got public cloud outside of the data center, right? What is happening if you look at those enterprise application portfolio layer, you see that there is a mix of support teams have been created, and partially your siloed teams are being also created. That means, okay, you need a team for hybrid cloud, you need a team for public cloud, you need a team for private cloud, and so on and so forth, right? So if you need to manage them fully, then what we have got is we have got one glue, single pane of glass approach, which is Cloudforms. So that means your private is OpenStack, public is AWS or several third-party public platform, and private is multiple OpenStack and different virtualization platform. All that can happen, with just one layer, which is Cloudforms. Okay. Now, how is this journey will look like? So this is your old ways, and I'm treating your old ways as Azure, AWS, GCP, OpenStack, and OpenShift. Please understand, my definition of old ways is not Linux, Windows, right? Even though you are in the cloud, you're still in the old ways, because at one time you can do one task, right? But you can get into a factory. You can get into a factory means you can do multiple tasks repeatedly using Red Hat Satellite and Insights. Plus, you need to bring operational efficiency in a hybrid cloud environment. When you're bringing operational efficiency in a hybrid cloud environment, that means you need more of this kind of approach, okay, where you are manufacturing, like a robot. Then you require Ansible, right? So you need OpenStack, you need Ansible, right? You need Satellite to improve your scale and optimize the infrastructure, right? With the agility and speed. And you also need to be mobile. Mobile, when I say, okay, you are actually moving things from one environment to the another environment. Okay, so that is where you require Cloudforms. So probably now you would have got a picture that what exactly is your approach. Just look at this. What fits where? Your traditional way of dealing with infrastructure systems, whether it is in public cloud or private cloud, it really doesn't matter, right? But you are still in the old age. If you want to repeat it, you need satellite or insight. Okay, you want to optimize it, then you require Ansible, and you want to be managed holistically, then you can do it through the Cloudforms. Now, before I switch to the demo, because we are right on time to demonstrate you how things works, right? Then before I switch to the demo, I just wanted you to take a pause. I would take a pause, and you just see that, okay, how these questions bother your customer, right? If these questions bother your customer and you, that means we are in the right forum, right? So these questions definitely are worrisome questions, where most of you have come across these questions at least once or multiple times, right? Where you have been asked that, okay, hey, how would you deliver this? Right? So, so let's park these questions, right? And move it to one of the use case. So what are we doing is, we are giving you this integrated architecture, right? Cloudforms managing your OpenStack private cloud, managing the container, public cloud, and virtualization. So this is a integrated architecture of hybrid cloud. Okay, but at the same time, we first need to understand, okay, how automation works, and for that I have picked one automation feature at a time. So I'm picking one automation feature is heat. Okay, so let us talk about heat. I have an animated way to present this, so let me use that. Okay, oops. Yeah. So what is the heat automation which is working in OpenStack, right? So first, let us define an environment. Environment means it is server, server flavor, server images, network, and volume. So that's a stack, right? And you need all these to be fully automated. Okay, so when you are doing this, you also can repeat this, right? So you can replicate, and hence you can create a dev environment, you can create a test environment. That's your customer want. So the customer is not looking at just server. Customer looks at server with various different server flavor, an image which is faster provisioned, cloudified, network, including the private and floating IP, the volume attached, and customer need it multiple times for their dev and test. How it happens? For this, you need to write script, and those script is nothing but we will start with heat. Heat orchestration template, okay, is something like this. So look at this heat orchestration template. So this template clearly defines what you want to achieve, Okay, so it is simple, to understand and to write. It is like your YAML. That means anybody who has studied Ansible can write heat template very, very easily. And what it deliver is the resources. And the resources are nothing but the building block components, which I had shown you before. What is the resource? A server, network, storage, right? Image, or the whole environment, right? So you are building the resources, and to build the resources, you need to pass some parameters, and some parameters are defined. The defined parameters, you will have a default, and you will also see that some of the parameters are optional, where you can enter those parameters, through your environment variable or whatever it is, right? So that's so simple, correct? Now, what is the combination? We talked about OpenStack, okay, which has got different services. It has got compute, network, storage, image, orchestration, and we are using the heat orchestration to give you the environment as a service. So this is an example of single instance, okay? That means an IP address, okay, port, and a server. But this is a multi-tier stack where you have got more than one instance or more than one server, right? You could see the servers, plus you have got security policies, you have got IP addresses, and you have got ports and switches and routers, right? So this is a multi-tier stack. For both, you can write heat orchestration template, one template or more than one template, so that what it does, it deals with the Nova server, Neutron network, Glance image, and Cinder storage. Okay, so your orchestration template works with all these four things. What's a blueprint? Blueprint is a template which has got all the scripts mentioned, right? So that means you have got parameters, for resources mentioned in a template, and it builds the resources. And what's a stack? Stack is an environment, okay? So we will create the heat template, or we will utilize the heat template, and we will use to create the resources, image, flavor, network, security group, right? And we could see that is happening on OpenStack Horizon dashboard, both at command line as well as on the console or the dashboard. Now, if I put all that together, then this is how the end product will look like. Okay, so we have constructed a framework called PD Cloud EX, but what do you get is OpenStack using Ansible heat template and deals with all these various things. And on the rightmost side is what your customer is expecting. Okay, so let's get started with a demo. So I will be switching my screen so that so let me stop sharing here, and I will start my sharing. So hope you can see my screen, right? So I'll first show you the OpenStack. Yeah, so this is my OpenStack, and I've got different profiles here: OpenStack, stack, list. So it will Okay, so I didn't source it. So I've logged in. Those who are uh, not familiar, as I said, okay. So I have got few stacks already being created. We will create our own stack. So I'm not going to use command line. I will use the graphical way, but I just wanted to show you that how heat works, right? And you'd see that uh, if I talk about heat stack, I can show stack 4, which is probably the most recent one. Then it would show you the details about the stack, and that is what exactly I talked about, right? I said that what it delivers. It delivers, right? The IP address, floating IP, server, right? Database, using different parameters. So whatever has gone through the script, it actually shows you here. Now, beginners will find it difficult. So that is why what we are doing is we have integrated this with Cloudforms, right? So this is my Cloudforms, right? So services. As I said that our objective is to simplify so that your operation goes absolutely uh, flawless. So I'm creating a lab stack environment using Cloudforms, which is inside using the Heat and OpenStack. Okay, so let me first order one Cloudforms instance, and as I promised, I'm going to show you pretty detailed. Okay, if you have patience, right? So I'm giving a name called um, Stack Webinar Demo, right? And so all the parameters, anyone who has been familiar with Heat, please respond to my chat message because we can interact better, more relevant. So you would understand that the complexity of Heat is being resolved here because writing the script, optimizing the script, all that I'm doing it through Cloudforms. Okay, that's the beauty. So if you're a beginner, you can easily do it with this, right? So I have to give the key name. Okay, so OpenStack has got the key. So you can log into OpenStack and yeah, so there is a issue with the name resolving. So let me use the IP address. Yes, I'm logging into my OpenStack and I will pick up the keystone key. As I earlier told that you need to be familiar with the OpenStack first, then with CloudForms, or you can start with CloudForms and just manage CloudForms, and you can depend on the OpenStack guys. So I can go to Access and Security and pick up the key pair. So I have got multiple key pair here, so I'll have to pick up the right key. So that was my key probably. Just let me double check. Go to Access Security, and my key name was um, root hyphen on hyphen controller, right? So this was the key. I can click here and copy it from here, right? To be on the safer side, and I'm pasting it here, right? Against the key name, right? Then As I said in my slide, that you need to pick up the option of flavor, right? So my slides were very, very relevant, right? So I'm not hard coding the flavor. So if I need to create a LAMP environment with small t-shirt size VMs, I can select m1.small, right? And I need to give the proper subnet and network details. That also I can retrieve it from OpenStack. I hope those who are familiar with OpenStack can easily understand. Okay, what is a network, right? So I have a private network and a public network. So I picked up the right thing, and you can see the network topology. That's a very interesting thing. You would see that, okay, how things will be set up when your stack is getting created. So just make a note. You have got how many servers? You have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 servers. I will be adding 2 more just through a script. Okay, and submit. So the order has been submitted, okay, from my service catalog, right? So that means I have got enabled, which I promised. That means I'm not controlling, right? I have enabled my customer, and it is self-service. That means the customer can do all by himself without having any knowledge of OpenStack, and the customer can get the environment like you are ordering, so it is creating stack. So just look how things are happening in OpenStack, right? So you just see here, you had six instances. Let me refresh. I believe you would have 8 now getting created. Yes, you see here. So the database and web is in the build stage. Okay. Look at your orchestration, how it works. Stack. This parameter I gave it in the Cloudforms, right? And wow. So you see here, right? Okay. The stack is getting provisioned, and just look, the servers are getting created, right? Not just the server. It is wow. So the servers are in green color now. That means the health is getting okay, and this is my stack, okay, and these are the resources, right? It has created the events and template. So what I used, the heat template which I used is this, okay, what it shows up here. Okay, so this is the template which, or the script which actually work behind this screen. Okay, so let me show you from Cloudforms perspective, because that was my objective. So from Cloudforms perspective, I will go to the orchestration. So yeah, so went to the catalog. I used different orchestration template, right? So I'm using heat template. So look at the beauty here. I have got option to use cloud formation template of AWS. I have got option to use heat template. So that's why I said one at a time. That means today we are discussing only heat template. We are not discussing cloud formation template and Azure template. So we are discussing heat template, and look at this template. Okay, look at this template, and is it in line what we discussed? A template has got parameters, resources, and output. Output is what you see, resources what you built, parameters what you have entered as a parameter from the service catalog, right? So it has got all that written inside the code, and this code is written in YAML syntax, and you can learn if you learn Ansible. So you have got three things to learn: OpenStack, Cloudforms, and Ansible if you want to automate everything. Okay, now let us see how beautiful your Cloudforms is. So you have got two products here, right? You have got Cloudforms, which actually manages OpenStack, and you have got OpenStack by itself. But look at this, how both of these are working so, fantastically, right? So this is the stack which you have created, okay? And we also discussed that you should be able to do life cycle and policy, right? So when I talked about digital transformation, right, I did not just talk about digital transformation in silo, right? I say digital transformation happens at both, automation, operation, and then you enable the customer. So if you have automated using heat, right? So there are questions coming, guys. I will answer, but let me finish this. So you have to automate using heat, right? You need to operationalize it by orchestrating it, and you need to enforce policies so that your infrastructure is compliant, and you should give enable, that means life cycle and self-service, right? So your customer can shut down and retire something. So I can do that for you. So cloud, so while this particular stack I created, I can also delete my old stack. Okay, so let me show you that as well. So stacks, I think I had stack 4 or something like that, correct? So I can delete that stack without going to OpenStack, without dealing with heat. So stack 4, I want to delete lifecycle, retire selected stack, boom. So this stack will be deleted from my OpenStack. You want to see? You can see that, okay? Orchestration, this is my OpenStack screen. Stacks, I had stack 4. I did not touch here. It will be deleted automatically right from Cloudforms. Okay, you need to give some amount of time, but just remember that this particular stack is already in delete stage, or when you do life cycle, retire selected stack. Okay, fine. So now let's move to what happened to your request, right? So what did we do? We talked about two requests. One is to create a stack, and we deleted another stack, right? All from one system, right? So what was our stack name? Our stack name was webinar stack. Okay. So these are the resources it has created. Okay. As I said, you can repeat this for your dev, test, all that. So at this point of time, it is all in one environment, right? But let's see how it works in OpenStack way. Okay. So you have the stack. Webinar demo is already complete, okay, which we created. The resources is nothing but your database and web server, right? And the overview. Um, and what is the outcome? Outcome is the application, right? Okay. So you can look at this URL, which is actually an application. Okay. You can look at this URL, which is an application, and uh, so 192.168.1.46. Okay, so this is my jump server. Okay, I can go to its browser um, and look at the application, whether it has been started or not. So what is the application IP? My application IP is 1.46. Okay, so 1.46. Hold on. Uh, so I will give the proper IP 46. If I'm getting my application, okay, then we are good. Okay, so the application has not come. Still, what I can do is I can go to stack, look at my resources, and see whether these resources have been created or not. So I can click on the web server, get into the web server, okay, and check whether my Apache is installed or not. Uh, Console. So please understand that okay, it is a quite a lot of work it does. So we need to have a lot of patience, right? You see that machine has been booted. Okay, so that means I'm very comfortable. It's only not coming up on the console, right? Uh, Let me open this OpenStack from my jump server because sometimes it doesn't work. So okay, so while I'm fixing it, let me answer a few questions. Red Hat OpenStack 2-node setup minimum from one's experience of setting it up, not as per spec sheet from Red Hat. Okay. What is the minimum configuration to have 2-node Red Hat OpenStack 13 on virtual box? Okay, so you are doing OpenStack 13 on virtual box. That means you are actually not putting up a true OpenStack platform. I would call that as a pack stack. So you want to use OpenStack 13 as pack stack on virtual box. So Packstack is a simplest way of dealing with OpenStack, but that is not what your industry look at. Okay. Um, any other questions? I think the training one is given. Okay. So while I'm fixing the infra issue, okay. Fine. Resources. web server. Console. RHOS 2 node setup minimum from once experience of the thanks. Is it that trial edition from access.red hat is a packstack provided? Sorry, packstack package are not production based. Yeah, packstack uses Puppet to deploy OpenStack. Yes. So login. So my web server is up. So I'm just logging into the web server and okay, I can check the password on the template. Overview from Cloudforms. Look at the heat template. Yeah, because I don't know what is being keyed in as the password. Okay, so it is using SSH for login. So I require the key to login. So that will figure it out later. Okay. Okay. What is the application? Is it on now? Okay, so I'll give some more time. In the meantime, what I will do is I'll switch to my presentation because we are definitely have very little time. So to summarize, what do I summarize is we are actually moving into a automated provisioning using heat, and it is going to do a faster provisioning, and it would do these use cases, right? You can select the environment, provision the environment. You can start, stop, things, and you can do the template management, what I talked about, and you can also manage your, images. Okay, so these things, these are the use cases you can definitely do. Now, so I assume that, okay, my demo will work in next few minutes. So to summarize, what did we discuss? We discussed that, DevOps is a culture, and you have to, adopt that with your skill set. One is your Red Hat Cloudforms, another is Red Hat OpenStack, and we used both to integrate, and automate OpenStack environment provisioning using Cloudforms. And Prodevance, which I'm talking on their behalf, is a leading solution provider for OpenStack implementation, and they do these kind of solution for their end customers. And Red Hat is a leading provider for OpenStack and Open Cloud initiatives, and you can get their services when you are using Red Hat OpenStack and Cloudforms, right? Any questions? I'm still waiting for my stack to complete, but I can answer the questions or go back to the demo for you guys. Okay, so I'll open the forum for questions. Looking for TripleO based package trial, you can download RDO TripleO and use it. So there is no trial. RDO OpenStack and use TripleO. TripleO is the under cloud over cloud orchestrator. Okay, to OpenStack on OpenStack. Any more questions? I think Vamsi has already responded the Cloudforms minimum requirement. Okay. I think somebody asked about the training. So they are our training partner. So you can get into that website and look for OpenStack CL110, CL210, CL310 for OpenStack, and for Cloudforms it is DO220. Okay, and for Ansible, Cloudforms, and for Ansible it is DO407. Okay. Any more questions? Our contact person could be Maran. Okay, so you can contact Maran for any questions. I can leave his number. So 9380282904. Okay, so you can reach Maran for any service related or any capability product capability related. So he's our point of contact. Okay. Yes. Okay, so training on stack.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was very useful. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you next time with some new topic. We will definitely make more variation in our approach, so that we bring new demos, related to each of these products' capability. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Somebody is asking for looking for OpenStack. You can send out a mail to all those who have joined.